About prime and composite numbers. In order to understand prime and composite numbers, you have to understand factors. So just a quick recap, I'm going to pick two separate numbers and we're just going to do a quick factor rainbow to make sure that we're understanding factors. So I'm going to pick the number 5 and I'm going to pick the number 10. If I wanted to find the factors of 5, I would create a factor rainbow listing the multiplication facts that get me to 5. In this case, 1 times 5 is the only multiplication fact that gets me to 5, so my factor rainbow would just have 1 and 5. However, in the rainbow for 10, we're going to have two facts. We're going to have 1 times 10, and we're going to have 2 times 5, which means that 5 has two factors, which are 1 and 5, but 10 has 4 factors, which are 1, 2, 5, and 10. So we're going to use this information to help us understand prime and composite numbers. A prime number, and I'm going to write that over the number 5 for a very specific reason, is any number that has exactly 2 factors. So a prime number has exactly 2 factors, where a composite number has more than 2 factors, like in the case of the number 10. So I'm going to write more than 2 factors. Every number that we can think of, except for 1 or 0, they're special, is either prime or composite. It just depends on the number of factors that you can list in its factor rainbow. Since the number 5 only had exactly 2 factors, it's a prime number. The number 10 has 4 factors, which means that this number 10 is a composite number because that's more than 2. The number 1 is a special number. It's neither prime nor composite because the only factor of 1 is 1. So that's just one factor. When I think of a prime number, I think of a sad rainbow. I think of a sad face. It only has 2 factors. It kind of almost looks like a frown over here, where a composite number has a much cheerier rainbow because there's going to be a lot more arcs, a lot more different possibilities. So let's think of some prime numbers. Some prime numbers that I know of are 3. I'm sorry, I also forgot 2. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and there's a giant list of these. But these are all numbers that if you were going to create the factor rainbow for them, there would only be 2 factors, and those 2 factors would be 1 and the number itself. Where over here, we could list a giant list of composite numbers, and I would pick 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. That list could go on and on as well. There's a variety. But these numbers here are composite numbers because if I made a factor rainbow for them, that would have many arcs, at least 2, which would be a cheerier factor rainbow, which means it would have more than 2 factors. So if you take any given number, and like I said, ignore 0 and 1 because they are special, but other than that, you can pick a number, and by looking at its factor rainbow, you can decide whether it's prime or composite.